Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this. All right, so I'm here with Mike. Mike, how are you?
Hey, Joe.
Good.
How are you?
You know, I'm really excited to see the process of your famous jarred bottled sauce. Now, the process starts first from tomatoes coming from Italy, right?
Yes. We import all our own Italian tomato from
Right.
Campania. So every can is made specifically for us with our own label on it.
Right.
In the beginning of the harvest, well, after the tomatoes are harvested, we get numerous samples from all different days of the harvest. We pick
Gotcha.
the exact day that we like the tomato from. Those are the only tomatoes that we'll use in the production of our sauce.
Excellent. If I noticed that the tomatoes are nice and red and bright. I guess that's, again,
Yeah.
that's what you look
Yeah,
for.
because the tomatoes actually change from day to day throughout the harvest, depending on, depending on how much sun, how much water, if it rains the night before. The tomato is different from day to day.
That's a lot of tomatoes.
Yeah. So each can is picked on a certain couple of days that we like, and those are the only ones that we'll use.
Now, from here, we go and now travel to the kettle department, right, where the tomatoes actually go in this. How many
Absolutely.
gallons is that?
They're 80-gallon kettles.
80
we have
gallon
three
kettles.
80-gallon kettles.
So why don't we take a walk there?
Yeah, sure.
Good. All right, so now we're here at the kettle, Mike. Now, this is 80-gallon kettle?
Yes, we have three 80-gallon kettles.
3 80 gallons.
That
That's
we
a lot
cook
of
all the
sauce.
sauce in, yeah.
That's a lot of sauce.
So
Now-
all the plum tomatoes now been ground. We use a meat grinder. It's all been ground directly into the kettles.
Smells delicious.
And now we're just waiting for it to come to a boil. Okay, we wait for it to get up to about 212 degrees,
Right.
and then it's ready to go. We don't cook
Excellent.
it for hours and hours.
You know, the rule of thumb, even I remember that years in the kitchen, you start off with a good tomato, there's no reason to have to stew the heck out of it.
No,
you know?
not at all. Not at all. As long as we bring it up to a boil to the right temperature where it'll last in the jar,
Right.
that's really it.
Perfect. Now, do we have one that's finished that we can taste?
Absolutely. We have the tomato and basil right here.
All right, let's have a shot of that. Wow. That is
Not bad,
good.
huh?
Just like grandma's.
Yep. And this is just Italian tomato, Italian olive oil, a little bit of garlic, basil, parsley, salt, pepper. As basic, as easy,
Don't
as
overdo
pure,
it.
as
Yeah,
pure
use
as
it
you
in
can
its
get.
original form. That's what I say.
That's it.
Now, from here, you stew it. It gets to the proper temperature. Now
Right.
it's got to be bottled, right?
Exactly.
Labeled, and then it's out the door.
And then it's out the door.
So
That's it.
now, with this jarring method here, explain the process. You have an automatic, I guess.
We have a semi-automatic filler. So we have the hoses hooked up to the bottom of the kettles.
Right.
And it gets pumped right out once it reaches that temperature that we need, about 210, 212
And it
degrees.
puts it right into the jar.
Right into the jar. Each jar is topped off with the perfect amount of sauce in each jar. Then it's capped, and we put a label on it, put a protective seal, goes through a heat tunnel, right to cool.
Now, I noticed that every jar is cleaned and checked.
Yes.
That's a lot of jars.
Yes.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
checking.
Yeah.
But you do that for quality control, right? Making sure that.
Exactly. We're very hands-on here. We watch every little detail.
Perfect. Well, thanks for the tour. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks
Got
for
it.
coming.
So now we're here. Michael's 10 years later, right? So it's like you guys haven't aged one bit. This guy got really big. You know,
What are you
what's
talking
going on? But it's still great food. And now you're promoting this line of sauce, which is fantastic. Talk to me about what you guys going on, because if I look at I've done a lot of restaurants 12 years ago, 10 years ago. Some of them aren't even around. A lot of them aren't even around anymore. Here, you guys have flourished to the next level, which is a good thing to see. So what is it that keeps this restaurant and your family here, everybody involved, taking this to the next level?
Well, first of all, family's the main thing. If everybody doesn't work together, you're never going to succeed. Second thing is all the main ingredients we use are all fresh ingredients, a lot of Italian ingredients, olive oil, tomatoes, like Michael was saying downstairs with the sauce. And basically now I was just trying to show you a way to use the sauce besides pasta.
Exactly. So if today's busy, over-communicated lifestyle, nobody's got time to cook, they're going to grab Michael's sauce, which comes in a variety of different flavors. And you've shown us in the kitchen a shrimp, which is real simple,
Real
easy,
simple.
and looks delicious. And that could go over rice, pasta, or anything you want.
Right.
And it's taken over one of these jarred sauces, open them up, put them in, and there you have it. So let's
Done.
taste this shrimp. What sauce did you use for this one?
We use a marinara sauce,
After you guys. So this is your straight marinara.
a straight marinara sauce. Just saute with a little olive oil, sprinkle a little white wine in it, put the tomatoes in, let it simmer for about 10 minutes. You could even put that over pasta if you want.
You could put it over pasta.
Put it over pasta.
And that's what you guys try to stress. You try to stress that, hey, these sauces are already made. We did all the work.
Right.
All you have to do is take it home and enjoy
Very
it.
simple. Good for me.
Very good. I like how the marinara sauce picks up the flavor of the seafood right away.
Now, you can do this with a variety of seafood. You could do a lobster, calamari, squingili, shrimps. You could put everything together.
Right. He said
the sauce
branzino
on
in the kitchen. You
branzino.
could even take it to the next level.
Right. You could take one of the puttanesca sauce, make a fish, put the puttanesca sauce, let it simmer for 10 minutes, and you're done.
Incredible. So check them out. Michael's, where can we learn more about this? Michaels.com or
michaelsofbrooklyn.com.
michaelsofbrooklyn.com. Guys, thanks for having me here again 10 years later.
Pleasure.
Excellent success. I wish you nothing more but another 100 years of success. Thank you, everyone,
Take
for
it
watching.
easy. 10 more years, I'm out.
That's 10 more years, you're out. Thank you for watching this fun-filled episode of Taste This TV. We're heading back over to the kitchen. Taste this. All right, so now we're going to get started jarring our own tomato sauce. Now, as you can see, many great companies or great restaurants are jarring their own sauce. You could do it in the convenience of your own home, too, by taking a mason jar or what have you, any kind of jar to preserve it. My grandmother was the queen of jarring sauce. She used to make it once a year with the whole family. My dad even made a concoction that you didn't have to do it by hand anymore. He sort of took a machine and he took a motor so that it could actually crush the tomatoes by itself, because years ago they were doing it all by hand. So there's a deep family tradition in making sauce. Unfortunately, it's died down over the years. So we're going to make my version of a tomato sauce and jar it. And it's really nothing special. It's just back to the basics. Garlic, olive oil, butter, some cheese, some micro basil, stuff like that. So, of course, we take a little bit of this red wine. Now, we have some of this wine here. I have a regular liquid. You could call it a cold bouillon after I put this into it. But just by putting a little bit of red wine in there, it gives it a bit of flavor for the tomatoes. And I am going to use red wine in my sauce as well. But I won't do that till later. Roma tomatoes, 5x6 tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes, Jersey tomatoes, green tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, they're all the same. So what I'm going to do is the classic way, which is the Roma tomato, because I feel you get the best product with that. So what you need is a sharp knife. What you're going to do is score both sides of the tomato by just making an X on both sides. And the whole process of taking this tomato is putting it in hot water and having the skin just sort of peel itself off. You don't want to go too deep. If you go in the liquid here, the water, you can start to see some of the skin coming off of the tomato already. It's not a long process. So now you can obviously see some of the tomatoes kind of shedding its skin, so to speak. And this is exactly what it's going to look like. And the reason why you score it is because the skin comes off kind of evenly and quickly, but you don't want to overdo it. And I think that's a lot of a mistake that a lot of people make. I tend to like my tomato a little chunky. However, I'm going to do the traditional way to show you that. Or you can put it through a strainer if you don't like the seeds. Now, I never preferred the seeds, it doesn't matter to me if they're in or they're out. They really don't make a difference to my taste. So I kind of like them in. I like a seed in my sauce. All right, so now we take a look at our tomatoes and we see that they're basically ready to go. We have some ice cubes in there as well. I'm going to take those tomatoes and just put them in there. Again, this is the process that I like. Personally, I like to just take the tomato when I know it's pretty much ready to go and throw it right in here with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter, and saute it in its whole state, or just crush them. I'm not, big into, let's put it into this thing and get it perfect. Throw it in because in the end it's all the same. This is how it looks. Now, you can stew this a little bit more if you want. I don't prefer to boil the heck out of tomatoes. That's just not my style. So we're going to leave them like that. Take all of our tomatoes because, they're around the same cook time. We put them in there. They're pretty much ready to go. All the cold water does, folks, is allow you to take the skin off them pretty quickly. It doesn't do anything in the way of the flavor. Personally, I like to probably take them off when it's hot. I don't like the idea that you're going cold to hot, etc. Put our tomatoes here. And the skin comes right off, you can see. Now, when you open up a good quality can of tomatoes from Italy, you'll see that they're nice and soft and they're plump. That's because they boil the heck out of it in a pressure cooker. And then they flash freeze it. Not exactly frozen, but they chill it very quickly. and then they put it in the sauce. Depending on a good quality of tomato, you'll get just tomatoes. If you open up what we call a shoemaker can of tomatoes, it'll have artificial coloring, artificial salt, preservatives, and all this other crap that really shouldn't be in a tomato product. I was actually touring a tomato product years ago when I was a young chef, and they used to put a kind of gum, a paste, in the actual tomato sauce to make it thicker. I said to myself, if people only knew what was going in there, do you really think that they would buy it, even though it was like a very cheap tomato, it was very affordable? If people really saw what they were doing to the tomato, would they buy it? I don't know. Who knows? I wouldn't. I wouldn't put that stuff in my system. All right, so we open up the blender. We take our tomatoes. And again, what you want to try to do is have a nice clean rag, because you don't want any excess water from the pot dripping into here. Put our last one in there. If you got a couple left over, fine, chill them. Make a nice open-faced tuna salad. That's another thing I like to do with those tomatoes. Cut them open, put the tuna fish, bake it with a little bit of cheese on it. That's what I'm talking about, folks. That's what I am talking about. All right, that does it. Wash your hands. Again, you could take a strainer and you can put it through to get all those seeds out. Some people will say that it's bitter. My taste, I don't really think it's bitter or not. Tell you the truth, I don't care. I leave them in. Okay. We got some garlic here, right? Fresh garlic, nothing special. Give it a whack. Get it like 2 nice cloves on here. One thing about cooking is I never want to see any garlic powder in my kitchen unless it's on a rub. I mean, unless it's going on a dry rub or something. Use fresh garlic. Get into using some fresh herbs. We got some fresh micro basil here. All right, maybe that's a little too out there for some people. They just want to use regular basil. That's fine. But God, fresh garlic, use it. Good stuff. Okay? And what I do is I just smash it. It comes right out of the shell. Get all that. When I was a kid, I worked in a restaurant. I had to peel garlic. It never came peeled. Now you can get a whole jar peeled. But, God, I remember my fingertips used to burn after like the half case through. All right, now we're going to take some olive oil. This is cold pressed, good stuff. And then we're going to take some butter. You heard it, butter. It's my French influence here. We're going to add a little bit of butter in there, and then we're going to take the garlic, which is nice and smashed. We're going to turn it around with our fingers. And we're going to let this garlic cook down and get brown, because I don't believe in any raw garlic, especially in any sauces, right? We're going to take some fresh micro basil. Be careful, it's going to pop a little bit. Add a little bit more oil because we like it like that. Now we're going to take our mason jar. And this kind of comes in 2 spots. So this goes in the jar like that. And then you got your hot liquid. You can only open this up once. After you put the hot liquid in there, some people like to put it in hot water again. Some people like to put it right in cold water. It's really your preference. You could just put the hot stuff in there and close it up and you're fine. Just let it cool down. Don't put it right in the refrigerator. Let it sit out at room temperature first, and then you can put it in. You never want to put anything hot in your refrigerator. Look at that, folks. We got brown garlic, brown basil. This is what I'm talking about. Now, at this stage, you're going to let it get just brown a little bit more. And then we're going to add a secret ingredient. All right, it's brown nice. You see how that butter is kind of turning brown? It's got the flavor of the garlic. We're going to take a little bit of red wine off the fire. Now, you don't want to put this back on the fire because it's going to start to pop like that. So lift it over, but you don't want to put too much in there either. Now, you're going to take it off the fire, lean up. You don't want to put too much wine in here. And people make the mistake, they put too much wine in it because they figure it's popping all over the place, it's making a mess. Take it off the fire, it'll stop popping. But that's the perfect amount of wine to garlic to butter and everything else. We're putting this back over there, don't worry about that. We're going to take our tomato sauce. It goes back on the fire here. Now already, that smells like home. That's what I'm talking about. Now, we could have made pasta in this. You could have done all that stuff if you want. But we're just just making this plain. Got a little bit of salt. Use your eye. This isn't the salt that comes already ground. I like to crush my salt. And pepper. Black pepper, fresh, always fresh. If it ain't fresh, it ain't right. And that's all you need. So all this other stuff that people are putting in their sauce, you don't need it. Now, I do love to add cheese. If I was eating this right now, I would add cheese and put it in there. If I put it in the jar, I don't add cheese. I don't add meat. I just add sauce by itself. You want to make sure that this is above 160 degrees, just to play it on the safe side. Make sure everything is bubbled nicely. And we actually lost our funnel here today, so I'm going to do the rigorous task of trying to put it in there. Now, when this comes to a complete boil, I look at the top, and what does it tell me? Well, it tells me that there's not enough oil floating off the top. When that happens with my sauce, I like to drizzle a little bit more olive oil on top. What I do is put some oil. You'd be surprised with good quality olive oil what it does to your sauce. It just brings it to life. All right, so now we got this simmering. It's looking good. We're going to cut it off. Wait. News flash. They found the funnel. They found the funnel. We actually have a trap door that we use for all the bad food stylists on the show. But we don't have many. We only have good ones. Anyway, they pass it through the hole down in the bottom here. We do feed them from time to time. All right, now we got a funnel. We're going to put it in there. A funnel really makes life easier. And you can see all this product in here. Now, this is a fresh tomato sauce. I've added nothing. This is like nature in a jar. So important. I mean, I'm such an advocate to telling people about how to eat healthy and eat right, and the crap that they're putting in this food and feeding it to everyone. It's ridiculous. It really should be illegal. But there's so many preservatives in everything. So take the remainder of the sauce and put it in like that. And the rest is pretty easy. You just take your jar really tightly. I mean, this thing is going to be so hot, you're not going to be able to hold the glass. So just tighten it up here. And what's going to happen is it'll seal itself. And this little baby can be good for a year, however long you want to do it. In Italy, they have it even for longer. I mean, that's like a ritual over there. They make the sausage, hang it from the shelves, and do this and bottle it away, for future use. Up next, I'm going to get cleaned up. We have a very special guest, Barbara Selig-Brown from Stress Free Cooking's coming on to do another tomato recipe, so don't go anywhere. Taste this. All right, so now we have a special guest here, Barbara Selig-Brown from Stress Free Cooking. Normally I'm in your kitchen, but I'm glad to have you now in mine.
It's good to be in yours, yes. It's a great kitchen.
Oh, thanks. So what do you have going on? And before we start on our tomato onion dish, you have a show, you have a lot of cookbooks out. What can the world expect from Barbara?
Well, I just had a book come out called The Healthy Home for the American Diabetes Association.
Nice.
So we're actually going to do book number 5, which is Healthy Cooking 101, which will be out next year. And Stress-Free Cooking, thanks to your good guidance, is moving right along.
Excellent.
And we just had a trip to Italy, so we're going to do a great show on Italy. And of course, Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Stress Free Cooking.
And so what you went to Italy. I'm just going to start with this. So how did the trip go with Italy? What did you
It
do
was
with
great. Spent 3 days touring around Italy and Tuscany and visiting all the products from what they're calling the Tuscan table,
Right.
which is extra virgin olive oil, prosciutto di Toscana, pecorino di Toscana, and some honey from Italy that's
Oh, really?
amazing. So,
Now, you've been to Italy a few times now, right?
oh yeah. I don't know if I've been there more than you, but I've been there quite a few times. I love it. My home away from home.
Yeah, I love it. I do. I put a little butter in here, too, just to keep it honest.
Yeah, I know. You do like your butter.
I like a little butter in there. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's the French influence thing, but
Yeah,
just
I know.
feel
You
like
always
it gives
ask me for butter when you're in my kitchen.
So
So
now you're in
onions.
Italy, and you did something with prosciutto, right?
Yes, we visited the producer of prosciutto di Toscana, which is now being imported into this country. And there's only one producer that's actually authorized to export it to us because our standards at the USDA are so high. But it's a great product, and I love using it.
Now, here's something really unique. It's basil crystals. They have a little bit of sugar in them. That's why I don't add them to the end, so I don't want it to burn.
Basil crystals.
Basil crystals.
Oh, can I taste them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Oh, how yummy.
Very different. Now, what we're going to do is, these tomatoes are really ripe. They're perfect. So we're just going to take.
That is so fresh.
Yeah, it's nice,
I
right?
really like that.
Yeah, you know, they have beet petals and
Oh, wow.
grapefruit. They really do a bunch of things with it. Most people put it in dessert, but
No, that does not taste sweet at all. It tastes very fresh.
yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so now these tomatoes are perfect. We're probably going to use this one.
They're nice looking tomatoes for winter.
Oh yeah, you're right. You know, I guess I guess let's just say what gets grown in the U.S. these days anyway, right? I mean, unless it's summertime. But these did come from California.
But they do look beautiful.
They are, right? Very nice color. Probably just used the two in the middle here. The onions, it's nice and soft. We'll give it like another couple
that's
of
perfect.
minutes. Maybe we'll take this one. Ow. That was hot. I'm going to put that in the center. Take a couple of these.
Gorgeous color.
Very nice color.
And it smells great.
All right, so now we have our oil thing, our onion thing heating up here. We got one piece of garlic. We're going to throw that in there. 'Cause we just want a little bit of flavor, but we don't want to overpower it.
Right.
We got a little bit of this chili oil I made with chili powder.
Oh,
We're going to put
Pretty
that
color.
over the middle. Next, we're going to take these tomatoes. Just because they're too big, I'm just going to cut them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they sit on this a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is just flash fry it.
Oh,
So it gets some of
what
the
a great
flavor.
idea.
And do it this one too. Flash fry it.
Very nice.
Now, I have these miniature arugula. You know, the microgreens, the whole thing's getting crazy these days. You know, like they're crossbreeding everything. So I got this truffle oil,
Oh,
which is like
my
a
favorite
heaven
thing
sent.
in the whole world.
Yeah,
truffle.
you and I both.
Anything truffle.
Nothing like a little eggs and truffle.
Oh,
Just mix it
smells-
up a
that
little
smells
bit.
good, too.
All right, now we take our greens, put them right over the top, and I'll ask Barbara, who's got her cheese,
Oh, sure.
if you would just be so kind as to shred a little bit on the top
Sure.
there.
That is beautiful. That is really gorgeous.
I love, like, you know, when that's tomato and onions and stuff like that, I love it when it's cooked.
Yes, I do too.
Wow,
It
that
really
looks
brings the
gorgeous.
flavor out. And this
Wow.
cheese is amazing. I snuck a little taste before.
Let me just move that over here.
Okay, and this
Perfect.
cheese grater, the microplane works really well.
Yeah, it's good
Nice
with
and
that,
easy.
right?
Yeah,
Just
nice
don't
and
don't
easy.
hit your finger with that one.
Right.
And then take a little bit of oil and put it around the side
Oh,
like that.
how beautiful.
And we are maybe a little bit of this just to keep it honest.
Oh, that is just gorgeous. So simple.
And that's it.
So that is phenomenal.
So we'll take this and dig in, but I wanted to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having
And
me.
we can see you on your website, right?
Yes, stressfreecooking.com or Facebook, Stress Free Cooking.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Taste This TV. I'm your host, Chef Joe Simonero. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this.